Hi guys, how are you doing? It's Elaine Bintz, Wellness Coach. It is July of 2023. I hope everybody had a great Father's Day and I hope everybody has a safe and fun 4th of July. Just as a reminder, we will be closed on the 4th of July. So today's topic came from a member, Kim. Thank you, Kim, for this topic idea in our private Facebook group, Grow with Elaine. So today's topic, it's going to be a little more lengthy. It's how to eat more plant-based. So this will be a little bit of a longer video, but just basically take the pieces that would apply to you and your family, and then you can revisit this content at a later time. So this topic is an excellent question. I get this question at least once a week. So most of you might know that I do eat a plant-based diet. So plant-based just means plant-based. So if you look behind me, the poster, the fruits and the vegetables, it just means that the basis of your diet are foods grown from the earth. So fruits, vegetables, whole grains, things like that. But it doesn't mean that your entire diet is plant-based. So you can still have, if you want the occasional fish or meat or cheese or animal products, eggs, things like that. So it's just the basis of your diet. So a little personal history on me. As a child, I never enjoyed eating meat. I would always sneak my meat and give it to our dog under the table. I'm sure I drove my parents crazy, but I didn't like the chewiness and the texture of the meat. And then as I got older, I started to learn, I would say probably middle school time, I started to learn more about health and diet and things like that, and I decided I wanted to become a vegetarian. So over the years, I have changed up my diet, and I would say in general, my diet has probably been more plant-based than vegetarian. So as far as ideas in regards to specific food items to eat, I highly suggest you check out my Instagram page, which is my last name first, then my first name. So my Instagram name is Bintz Elaine, so it's just my name switched, B-I-N-T-Z E-L-A-I-N-E. I have a lot of pictures of like different foods and snacks and meals I've put together that are plant-based. But in regards to how you can implement this in your own life, I want to take a few minutes today to talk to you about building on the habits you already have established. So plant-based is just that, the basis of your diet are plants. It doesn't mean you only eat salads. It doesn't mean you're a strict vegetarian. It doesn't mean you can never eat an egg again. It's just the basis of your diet. So for example, if we're talking about breakfast, if you would normally have eggs for breakfast, maybe once a week, switch up your eggs for tofu. So tofu would be a bean or a plant-based protein source as an alternative for eggs. If you already eat oatmeal, oatmeal is so common. I know a lot of people, even in the summer months, a lot of my clients still eat oatmeal every day. So one way to bulk this meal up to give it a little more substance, you could add a little bit of peanut butter. That would give you some healthy fat and some protein, and then also some type of berry. Blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, any kind of berry that you like would be another plant-based food. So as far as raising a family, I get this question a lot because a lot of people know that we have a 5-year-old son. And his birthday is this month in July. He'll be turning 6. So at home, I primarily feed him plant-based. But it's really important to me that our son tries different foods and develops his own taste buds and his own preferences. So if we go to parties or we're out and about and he wants to try something at a restaurant, I definitely encourage him to try a wide variety of foods. If he wants to try meat or chicken nuggets or things like that that are offered at a lot of the birthday parties, I want him to try other things and allow him to develop his own food preferences. But as far as preparing meals at home, a lot of the foods that I will offer our son are things like baby carrots, maybe a little bit of ranch, cut up cucumber, a lot of fruits. He loves fruits like cantaloupe and grapes and strawberries, things like this. Even if your kid doesn't really like a lot of these health foods, if there's another way to pair the plant-based or health food with something they already like, so say they do like cheese, you could maybe try to give them like steamed broccoli, and they have like those frozen bags of broccoli that you could just put in the microwave and steam them, and then put a little bit of salt or garlic if your kid likes seasonings. One of the really popular seasonings I really like from Trader Joe's, They have this one called 21 Seasoning Salute. It's one of my favorite seasonings. In Northwest Indiana, unfortunately, we don't have a Trader Joe's by us. So every now and again, I do have to drive out to Orland Park to get this. But it's really flavorful and there's no salt in it. And I found that our son really does like this. So this works on our salads, my own veggie burgers, any kind of vegetables that I steam. It's a really flavorful seasoning. So what about you in your own particular diet? So I always encourage my coaching clients to start where you are. So say, for example, you eat 3 meals a day, all of your meals, 21 meals a week, all of your meals include a meat. So say, for example, you want to try to eat 1 more plant-based meal a week. I would say, okay, let's strategize and find for you what meal is the easiest meal to start with, and then just change up that 1 meal once a week. So go through a transition time because your body is going to adjust by eliminating certain foods from your diet and then adding new ones. So you want to take your time. So you would not want to go from eating no plant-based foods, like 0 in a week, to like all of a sudden next week, Monday, you start eating 21 plant-based meals in a week. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 7 days a week, 21 meals. So the problem with that from a dietetic standpoint is plant-based foods typically are going to be higher in fiber. So if you have not traditionally been eating a plant-based diet, a lot of people are not getting the recommended fiber intake. So say, for example, you go from getting 10, 15, maybe 20 grams of fiber a day, and all of a sudden you start eating like 50 or 60 grams of fiber a day, which I've seen this with someone who does, dive in head first and goes, straight for 3 meals a day of plant-based foods and doesn't go through like a progressive transition. Usually you're going to have some gas, some bloating, there's going to be some irritation. You might not actually feel very good. So I really encourage you, if you do want to try to start eating more plant-based, is go through a transition time. So breakfast tends to be an easy meal to get plant-based foods because there's so many easy portable foods. Like if you grabbed a banana and a handful of cashews, that could be your breakfast. You could eat that in the car, you can have that at your desk, you can have it while you're dropping your child off to school. That's a very easy food. Granola bars, those types of foods, they are already plant-based. So there's a lot of foods that people might not consider to be a plant-based food, but in its nature, it already is. So our diets, they evolve over time, and our taste buds and our enzymes, they just evolve and change over time. So like in our 40s, for example, oftentimes I hear people say this, and I know from studying dietetics that maybe they used to be able to eat an entire pizza and they had no digestive problems. But then as they got older, 30s, 40s, 50s, they could only eat maybe 4 or 5 slices or maybe 3 slices of pizza because something with digesting either the acid in the pizza sauce or the cheese on the topping on the pizza, they were having a hard time digesting it. And so a hard time digesting can be anything from gas, bloating, diarrhea, or feeling nauseous or dizzy or just not feeling well. So depending on your genetics and how your body does adapt to changes, you're going to want to slowly transition into making some different food choices in your diet. So for example, like lactase, the enzyme that digests lactose, which is in cheese, usually we produce less, or that enzyme is less effective as we get older. So innately it makes sense that if you're in your 60s, you're not digesting the cheese that's on pizza as well as when you were in your 30s. So maybe you can't eat as much pizza without getting some GI, some gastrointestinal discomfort. But know that there's no one right diet. People always ask me, what's the best diet? The best diet is going to be the one that works for you, that makes you feel good, gives you enough energy to meet your daily needs, and one diet that doesn't result in disease or disorder. So if you have no medical conditions, you are on no medicine, you feel great, your joints don't hurt, probably the diet that you're eating is working well for your life. So your diet needs to match your lifestyle. So I know that a lot of people have tried vegan. I did eat vegan for a year. It was really hard to feed our son vegan. So that was one of the challenges. So I currently do not eat vegan. I've been focusing primarily on eating plant-based, which has worked better for the family environment. So you have to really think about what do you want to do and why do you want to do it. So some of the populations of people that have really benefited from eating a plant-based diet that I've noticed in my wellness practice are people who experience arthritis, so any sort of like an inflammatory disorder. Whether it's an inflammatory disorder is any condition that ends in itis. So if the word like arthritis, itis, that suffix itis means inflammation of arth, which would be like your joints. So what I've noticed in people who start to eat more plant-based meals, say they ate 1 or 2 meals a week for a few weeks, and then a month later they ate 3 or 4 plant-based meals a week, and they slowly allowed their diet to evolve, maybe over 6 months or a year, they noticed that their joints felt better naturally without any changes in their medication. So that's one of the populations. Also, populations I've noticed that have really benefited from a plant-based diet are people who do have thyroid disorders. So when there's hormonal irregularity, so whether it's hypo, like if you have hypo underactive thyroid, or you have severe hypo, you have Hashimoto's, any sort of a hormonal dysregularity, whether it's around your cycle or you're experiencing perimenopause or menopause, a lot of clients who have adapted more of a plant-based diet, they have less symptoms associated with hormonal fluctuations that would happen in a woman's natural cycle. So anytime you change your diet, there's the potential for some unpleasant side effects. So I will not lie to you. So depending on how much of a certain food or ingredient you've been eating, a lot of my clients who have reduced their caffeine intake or their sugar intake have had some withdrawal symptoms. So know that sometimes when your body is detoxing of a certain food or ingredient or substance, sometimes you're going to have some unpleasant side effects, headaches. Maybe you're tired earlier in the evening. Maybe you don't feel like you have as much energy. But usually these withdrawal symptoms, they will be temporary. They maybe last a few days or a week. But if you can get through that time period, usually when you do eat more of a plant-based diet, overall, usually you feel like you have more energy and then you feel better. So really anybody can benefit from this type of diet. It's not just people with inflammatory disorders or someone with a hormone irregularity. So when you're making a change in your diet, the most important thing is to start with why. Why are you doing this change? And then 2, how. What makes sense for implementation? So in my practice, I start to ask the client, okay, this is a great idea. Somebody says, hey, I want to learn more about plant-based diets. Okay, let's talk about it. Know that I am not a plant-based diet evangelist. I'm trying to educate my clients and the people I get to work with about how to live healthier. That doesn't mean eating a plant-based diet is necessarily for you. If you are someone who has extremely low vitamin B12, or if you have really bad neuropathy, depending on your conditions, if you have very low white blood cell count, sometimes people in these populations don't benefit from eating a primarily plant-based diet. So you really have to consider it's person specific who would benefit best from this diet. But then I ask my clients about their current behavior. So tell me a little bit more about, 1, why do you want to change your diet? So the why really matters. And then 2, how are we going to implement change? And then looking at what they're currently doing. So if I say, okay, tell me, just in a non-judgmental way, tell me a little bit more about a day in your life. What did you eat earlier today? Or what did you eat yesterday? And say, for example, the person doesn't make any mention of any fruits or vegetables, and maybe they haven't had a raw fruit or vegetable, or steamed or cooked, or any form of preparation for a fruit or a vegetable. Say they haven't had one in a week. We might talk a little bit about digestion and how often, they're going number 2 and things like that, to see if they need a fiber supplement or how we can adjust. how they eat so that they can be more regular for their bowel movements. So things like that to figure out in your own specific life what would work best for you. And then there's this model we use in the wellness world, which is called the behavior change model. So there are 5 stages. So the first one is pre-contemplative. If you have never thought about eating a plant-based diet, then the stage you would be in regards to this topic is called pre-contemplative. It's before thinking about it. The second stage in the behavior change model that we use a lot in wellness is contemplative. So maybe now that you're watching this video, now you're thinking, maybe I'll look into this plant-based diet. I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'll do some more research. And then 3, you have preparation. Maybe now you find yourself on Google and you're Googling, or you're looking at Instagram or my Facebook page and you're looking at different meal ideas, or oh, that looks good, or maybe I'm going to go to a restaurant and I'm going to order a non-meat based dish. So that would be preparation. And then action is like the stage I'm in. Like the other day I marinated portobello mushrooms to throw them in a salad. So action is doing the action in order to try to eat a more plant-based diet. And then the 5th stage, which I actually believe, behavior change model, 5th stage, maintenance. I believe this is the hardest stage. So having been practicing for over 20 years, I find that a lot of people are really motivated in the beginning, or when they're making a new change, or they're trying something new. They're excited, it's something different, they have never done this before, they didn't prepare food this way, or they used a particular seasoning. Maybe, you know, they went online, they ordered something new, they're trying a different spice. Maybe they've never cooked with cloves or cinnamon or used fresh herbs. But then time settles in. Maybe it's been a year, maybe it's been 2 years, and sometimes maintaining that diet is actually the hard part. So it's important that you do have variety in your diet. Try different things, switch it up. Most Americans, the research says their diet revolves around the same 9 meals at any given time, usually over a 2-week time period, because sometimes people go out to eat. So I would suggest, as a wellness coach, try something new. Go to a different restaurant. If you're going to your favorite restaurant, pick a different menu item. Ask the server, do you guys offer plant-based? Or sometimes the server might not know what plant-based meals are. They might know what a vegetarian meal is, or a meal that is made without meat or animal products. So I really believe the best diet for you is the one that makes you feel well, and then also that you don't have any disease. So again, this is just plant-based diet, just some information to get you thinking. I hope this was helpful for specific breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. You can always check out my Instagram or my Facebook page. But a lot of the same meals you would eat for lunch, you could eat for dinner, and a snack can be a smaller version. So say you're gonna have like a veggie burger for lunch, you could have a veggie burger for dinner. If you're really hungry and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you could have a veggie burger as a snack. You could have half of a veggie burger as a snack. So you can also bulk it up with fruits and vegetables. So for more information, if you do want to reach out to me, my name is Elaine Bintz, wellness coach, and I hope this topic has been helpful, and I would love to hear your feedback. Thanks guys, have a great day. Bye.